Hello and welcome to Business Today Television from the India Today studios here at the World Economic Forum 2023 in Davos. And with me today, Erik Ekudden, the CTO of Ericsson. Good morning and a very warm welcome on this rather chilly morning. We've been looking at how what's the temperature, and it's perhaps minus 11 just for viewers back in India to understand. Erik,
good to be here, sir.
Thank you so much, Erik. We're here at Davos in a year when a lot's been spoken about technology, challenges, economic opportunities. But I want to start this conversation with 5G. A lot of users in India are also getting to experience this. But let's talk about the global situation first. What's the global rollout of 5G currently at? How good or bad is it, and what are the numbers looking like?
Well, the numbers are coming in. We passed about 1 billion 5G subscription end of last year, 2022, and in another 5 years we expect to have around 5 billion 5G subscriptions. And that's, of course, a tremendous growth in terms of subscriptions, but also continued rollout of 5G networks around the world. Some regions are a little bit ahead in terms of population coverage. Some have even reached 90-95%, like the early and mature markets. But I think many are coming along now. So we see 5G becoming the consumer technology, but also very much the enterprise technology. And I think that's where the excitement comes from now, that we can start to collaborate across society using 5G as this technology and innovation platform for digitalization.
As one of the leading developers who sort of underwritten the whole 5G ecosystem, I want you to explain to our viewers what are the learnings globally that have come from 5G, and you put it in two baskets. One is the enterprise side and the other is the consumer side. If you could take us through learnings from both.
So as with previous technologies, 5G is also very much a consumer proposition because it gets into your smartphone, it gets into the enhancement of performance in your app, the video, the live sports, the perhaps more immersive conferences that you're engaging in. Video is a big part, but also more advanced augmented reality and cloud gaming. Those are the kind of early drivers for upgrade to 5G from a consumer side. And of course it comes as your next handset. Your next smartphone includes 5G with lower latency, higher bandwidth, better performance overall. But to your point about the enterprise, I think we're starting to see much actually an effect also of the work from anywhere over the last years, that you need good connectivity whether you're working from your home, from a remote location, or of course from your small medium business from your office. And that's really where 5G is now making big inroads. It's becoming the technology of choice for access to your enterprise, to your small medium businesses, and of course to your home office if that's what you're doing. And then it replaces fixed technologies, it replaces older wireless technologies, it replaces in some cases also kind of the office environment altogether. You're getting it all part of the 5G package, so to say.
Erik, with the 5 billion subscriber base, in 5 years from now, would I be right in saying that what this really means is that 5G will be for the sort of upper end, the creamy layer in terms of consumers, and you will have 4G coexisting? Because if it's 5 billion, does it mean that there will be 4G in only a very few pockets of the world?
It is a technology transition, so I would say most, if not all, subscribers will enjoy 5G over time, and it's of course a matter of upgrading devices, smartphones, handset, tablets, other work devices. So the technology maturation happens quicker this time than previously, but it will for a very long time be a combination of 4G and 5G, to your point. And it may not be so obvious to users in the consumer space whether they are on a high-end, high-performance 4G network or device or a 5G network around the world. But here I think India is a good example where the rollout pace, the speed of which the networks will be upgraded to 5G is unprecedented. In fact, India is now getting to a state which I would say is impressive when it comes to the starting point, just starting to roll out 5G, and it will be a leading 5G market very, very soon.
What are the key differentiators between the Indian 5G rollout experience vis-a-vis globally? Are Indian operators doing it differently? Are there any new sort of innovations that you can speak about?
I think there are learnings, you mentioned that before, from around the world, and those are clearly taken into account when it comes to rollout plans and the actual happening on the ground in India. What we are witnessing is a very fast rollout, much faster than we've seen in other parts of the world. And of course, that's to the benefit of both enterprises, consumers, and society at large. If you would like to have a technology that's pervasive, that can allow for digitalization of sector after sector, whether it's a more advanced manufacturing or it's education, the remote health, or any of those societal needs that you want to fulfill, having coverage everywhere is critically important. And India has stepped up in terms of rollout plans. So I think that's clearly taking the learnings from before, using the latest technology, making sure that the latest gear is used, which gives better economics, but it also gives better performance, better user experience, higher bit rates, lower latency. So I think all of those are taken into account now.
Eric, what's the sort of total number, if you can share one with us, in terms of the total network investment that's gone into rolling out 4G globally?
I can't share those numbers in any detail, but I think that as with previous generations, it is a natural progression, it's a natural shift. So that means that our customers, operators, they've gone through in many parts of the world an investment cycle now, and that has led to very quick rollout of 5G. Now it's in those more mature markets flattening out,
okay,
while other markets are coming up now, as we talked about India, having very strong investments and of course also very strong coverage growth here over the coming month and quarter. So within just a few quarters, we will have a very strong 5G network in India.
A non-tech question, and this is to do with the slowdown. The World Economic Forum, in its chief economist survey just a day or two ago, has said that a majority of those polled expect a recession happening this year globally. Different countries will be different. Of course, there's no talk of a recession as far as India is concerned. We are going to be around 7%. Is that going to impact the rollout of 5G in any manner?
So I think it's worth to look back a little bit at previous downturns and also previous investment cycles when it comes to digital infrastructure, in a particular mobile infrastructure. And if you look at that, you can see that it's a fairly resilient industry in terms of the needs that we are fulfilling. In fact, smartphone traffic continues to grow, and that's one of the reasons for needs of investments in also network infrastructure. So there is a resilience just in the needs are still there and continue to be there even through downturns and perhaps recessions. At the same time, of course, there could be a pacing effect that you could slow down to some extent the rollout pace and then pick up when you're through the downturn. But in general, it's a very resilient industry. That's what we're seeing.
What kind of data consumption do you see happening? Because
it's fantastic numbers if you just look at the big picture. And India is leading this when it comes to smartphone traffic per smartphone or traffic per user. You know that India is around 25 gigabytes per month.
Okay.
And that's world leading. Of course, a lot of usage for consumer applications, but also I would also say more for the benefit of society. And if you look over the coming 5 years, that data consumption will actually double in India to around 50 gigabytes per month.
50 gigabytes
50 gigabytes per month per user in India. Again, a leading number in the world.
And how does that compare with any other? What's number 2 and 3? Can you pull?
No, they are not so far behind. But if you go a little bit down to the average around the world, it's more like 11 gigabyte per month. So 25, there's a big difference.
What would Indians be doing with that extra data?
Well, I think entertainment is a big part of this. Video is more than 70% of traffic in mobile networks worldwide. And I think that video is very downstream heavy, meaning that you consume a lot of network capacity, you consume a lot of gigabyte. With 5G and what we see now with the more immersive experiences, you're interacting perhaps in a game or perhaps in a smart manufacturing environment. We will see more traffic going from the device, from the sensors, from the endpoint up and into the cloud. And of course that requires also some change in terms of how you dimension, how you build your network. But what I was talking about is the data rates and the consumptions going from the application, going from the cloud down to the device, consumed perhaps as video.
We are in 2023 and I have to ask you for your own a view as a technologist about new future emerging trends. What can you tell us? Not just telecom, but overall how the tech ecosystem and the great digital wave that's going across all over the world is shaping up.
Yeah. Well, I think it's exciting times from a technology point of view, because we've learned now over the last couple of years how extremely important digital infrastructure is for resiliency in society, and I think we will take those learnings over the coming 5 to 10 years in terms of create an even more resilient society, and the digital infrastructure with connectivity, with 5G and maybe 6G a few years down the line, those will be empowering or technologies, fundamental technologies that will help this connectivity and digitalization of society. But if you then look at it as a platform of innovation where many new applications can reside on top of it, many new needs can be fulfilled by coverage everywhere, by a strong digital infrastructure, then I'm very excited about seeing how work is changing now, how education is changing now. You can see remote work, but you can also see much more immersive experiences. So we are pretty excited about the XR space, the extended reality space, with augmented reality, virtual reality, where you can get a look and feel of a classroom event or some kind of a doctor's appointment that is very close to reality. Of course, this needs to be surrounded with proper privacy mechanisms. It needs to be surrounded by proper security mechanisms. But with that in place as part of the digital infrastructure, I think we will see a lot of innovation happening now in all sectors, because the technology is there, and with advanced devices and advanced networks, there is no stopping of the innovation power of everything from students to, of course, existing companies that are now leveraging this. So I think you'll see a plethora of great applications across these domains.
One of the final things that I want to take up with you, Erik, is the data, the enterprise part of it. There are companies in India who are looking to acquire separate captive 5G networks. What purpose would that serve, and what's the international experience?
So for perhaps some of your viewers here, 5G comes in multiple fashions, as you say, Sid. It's about 5G coverage everywhere, which is really allowing you to use your device indoor, outdoor, wherever you are, countryside or in the city. But there are also special needs, for example, in a smart manufacturing setting or a smart port, or it could be in a hospital setting, where you have needs that go beyond what you can cater for in the public infrastructure. And then there is a possibility to use 5G in a local setting. So you actually build 5G network that could have even higher, meet even higher requirements on resiliency, for example, or data locality. There could be different reasons why you want to have a local and private network. There are other reasons. Could be that you are in a place remote from the rest of the network and there is no coverage. You need to build this as a local network, a local and dedicated network. And over time, these networks will work very much together. So there will be a seamless transition from your network, your macro network, into your local and dedicated in-factory network. And of course, this is also where operators, the big service providers of the world, they see great opportunities to serve these needs, whether it's in the wide area, which is a traditional and obvious way of building networks, or in a more local setting where they can offer enterprise-grade SLAs, where they can offer network performance that is perhaps not needed or it's not cost-efficient to build out everywhere. So they're very complementary.
My final question, and this is to do more from the Indian experience, where there is a significant amount of dependency on diesel to run and power the network. So from a green telecom point of view, what do you see happening in the next 2-3 years? Climate change, environment sustainability is not just a boardroom topic anymore.
It is perhaps one of the biggest topics also in the telecom world, and I think being a part of the solution when it comes to the green and the digital deals in many parts of the world, digital needs to spearhead also when it comes to energy efficiency, energy consumption. You probably know that the total energy consumption or CO2 emissions from the telecom or ICT infrastructure in the world is around 1.4% of total. So it's a relatively small part, and then it can be used as a facilitator to reduce carbon emissions in other sectors by using the latest technologies, 5G in particular. You can reduce in other sectors. But we have a journey, we have a path to net zero in the telecom industry, and Ericsson is pioneering and leading that. So the latest gear is 20% more efficient for the same usage as the previous generation, and we'll see that over the coming years we'll actually get to, with the help also of course renewable energy in the first place, but also solar powered and other sort of local energy sources powering the infrastructure, we will get to net zero by 2040 overall, 2030 in the kind of telecom part of the industry, and in our own case we have very strict requirements on ourselves already by 2025 to reduce by 40%.
Erik Ekudden, thank you very much for your time with us today. That was the CTO of Ericsson talking about telecom and emerging trends in technology. If you've been, thank you very much for watching.